What would you do if your ex-boyfriend's wife became your client? I, 28F, work at a hair salon, and I have a client, 29F. She first started coming in November and has since become a regular. The first time she came in, she mentioned how funny it was that her daughter and I share the same name, especially since it's a rare and old-fashioned one. I thought that was a nice coincidence. She told me she has a 29-year-old husband, which honestly didn't interest me much. A few months later, she booked another appointment and this time talked a bit more about him. She said his name is John, fake name, that they met at work about 6 years ago, and that they've been married for 3.5 years. As we kept talking, she mentioned that John went to XY University, which is the same university I attended before I dropped out. The more she talked, the more I realized that John sounded incredibly similar to my ex-boyfriend. Still, I assumed it was just a coincidence, John as a common name. We lived in the same area, and people can have similar interests. Fast forward to last week, she came in again and this time showed me vacation photos that included John. I recognized him immediately. But I didn't say anything, I just focused on doing her hair. Honestly, I don't know what to think. I feel a bit weird about the whole situation. We had a really bad breakup, so realizing that her daughter has the same name as me, his ex-girlfriend, adds another layer of awkwardness. I don't have an issue with my ex's wife being my client, but the situation as a whole feels strange. Part of me wants to tell her because I think I would want to know if I were in her position. But at the same time, I don't want to come across as the crazy ex trying to interfere in their relationship. She's genuinely kind and sweet, and I don't want to hurt her for no real reason. I don't know what to do. Should I stay quiet and ignore it? Or should I tell her the truth? Would I be wrong if I told her? Additional info. Our relationship was serious. We were together for about 3 years and were planning to move in together. We even had a dog. He adopted it. Our relationship ended after an argument in his car. It was late at night, and he made me get out about 5 blocks away from my house. He wasn't physically abusive, but he did have an alcohol problem. I don't know if he still does. I'm not sure how they chose their daughter's name. She found me through my work Instagram account. My other social media accounts are private. Update. After reading everyone's comments, I've decided not to tell her, but I will also stop taking her as a client. Not telling her is probably unnecessary, but at the same time, if the truth ever comes out and she realizes I was keeping something from her while taking her money, I don't want her to feel hurt or uncomfortable.
From a psychological standpoint, this situation reflects an internal conflict between past experiences and the individual's current professional role. The unexpected reappearance of a former romantic partner, especially one tied to a negative ending, can reactivate unresolved or suppressed emotional processes. Therefore, the feelings of discomfort, awkwardness, and indecision she experiences are natural and understandable. One of the core dynamics in this case is cognitive dissonance. On one hand, she sees herself as a professional who should maintain distance and neutrality with her client. On the other hand, the fact that this client is directly connected to someone who once held emotional significance for her makes that boundary harder to maintain. Being caught between these two mental positions creates psychological strain and uncertainty. Her thought, "If I were in her position, I would want to know," reflects an empathetic projection. However, from a therapeutic perspective, an important question arises. Is the desire to share this information truly for the benefit of the other person? Or is it partly driven by a need to relieve her own internal tension? In many cases, the urge to disclose is more closely tied to reducing personal discomfort than to providing meaningful benefit. When evaluating possible scenarios, telling the truth could lead to different outcomes. In the best-case scenario, the client may respond with maturity and neutrality. However, more likely outcomes include discomfort, mistrust, or misinterpretation. The ex-partner identity can easily be perceived as a potential threat, which may damage the professional relationship. Remaining silent while continuing the client relationship might seem easier on the surface, but it carries the risk of ongoing internal tension. Feelings of unease, hyper-awareness, or anxiety about the truth being revealed could increase over time. In this context, the decision she made not to disclose the past relationship while also choosing to stop seeing the client can be considered a psychologically balanced and healthy response. This choice protects her emotional boundaries while also preventing unnecessary emotional impact on the other person. It is not avoidance, but rather a conscious act of setting boundaries. An individual with a healthy decision-making process would, in such a situation, question their intentions, consider potential outcomes, and prioritize both their own emotional well-being and that of the other person. What matters